What's going on, guys? Tonight we're back in the shop and we will be doing a walk around on my 89 Jeep Comanche. So I bought this Comanche, I found it on Facebook Marketplace about 2 years ago, and it was a complete just shell. It did have a front axle that was tacked in, and it had a rear axle that was tacked in. The front axle was a Dana 50 out of a Excursion or Gas F250, and then the rear was a Sterling that was welded. It didn't have a motor, a transmission transfer case, a dash. It didn't have any wires, nothing, literally just a shell. There was nothing in the engine bay. It was completely bare. And so I got the Jeep home, got it in my shop, and I just started, cleaning it out. And I'll try to put some pictures in of when I first got it. Because I had these bead locks sitting around my house that I took off my old Super Duty. So the day I got it home, I went ahead and put bead locks and 37s on it just to get me motivated. But I ended up finding a 96 Cherokee with the high output 4.0, an AX15, and a 231 with a slip yoke eliminator already installed. The motor out, the transmission, and the transfer case out of that Cherokee, and I put it into the Comanche. Grill came off that Cherokee. I upgraded the headlights to LEDs, Amazon special. But since then, I have done quite a lot to it. So this here is the Barnes bumper. It is for a JK, and Barnes actually sells the kit to install it onto a Cherokee or Comanche. So that bolted right on. And the Warren M8000, always run Warren. That's just always my go-to. So the front axle, I am still running that Dana 50 that came with the Comanche, but did a bunch of research and everybody was like, don't run them, don't run them. Well, I like to do opposite of what the internet says. So what I did was I cut this differential down probably inch and a half off and welded a plate back up to it. So I did a shave kit on a Dana 50. So I always get weird looks with this front axle, but I don't plan on putting any bigger tires on this than 39s, what I have on it now. And I beat the fool out of this Jeep, and I've never had a single issue out of that front axle. But all the steering components, the tie rod, drag link, track bar, all the brackets, that came from Barnes. I did outboard my track bar. And obviously in one of my other videos I showed how to make the track bar mount brace. And I'm running 513s, and I'm running a Yukon Grizzly locker in the front. Obviously I'm running the PSC Hydro Assist. So the wheels and tires that I'm running on this is BFG KM3s. I'm running a 39 with a trail ready bead lock. I am running mile marker selectable hubs, and suspension. It's a radius arm setup. So you got the rock sliders, and one super cool thing, one of my favorite modifications that I've ever done to a vehicle is I did the full window conversion. It was a huge pain in the butt, but it is so worth it. So instead of having, the glass go down, right here and this remain, I've got the full window. And a soft top in the rear, Love that. No leaks. I do have my fuel cell right here, so I wanted something to keep it out of the weather. So the rear of the Comanche, or things get interesting, I did obviously stretch the wheelbase. I believe it's 119, 120 wheelbase. I tried to get it super close to a long bed Comanche wheelbase with a short bed. So I'm going to make another video of how I pretty much totaled this Comanche and had to rebuild it. So be on the lookout for that video. But I'm running a Barnes 4-link in the rear. They hooked me up, they sponsored the build, and I could not be happier with it. It is so much better than leaf springs. So if anybody has any questions on the 4-link, let's see if I can get my light on, the 4-link suspension on here. I'm running the old coil springs off of my LJ in the rear. I think they're for like a 3.5-inch lift or something like that. But I'm also running this bed armor from Ars Fab, I believe that's the name. And then I'm running, I believe these are from JCR, but they met up perfectly. I did have to clearance them a little bit, but got a busted tail light too. I don't know if you've seen the price of tail lights for Comanches anywhere, but they are like gold. I'm running a JCR rear bumper. The interior is nothing special. I do have my rugged radios. I always like to have them. I got the coolest shifter ever, smashed PBR can. I'm running factory Comanche seats, a factory Comanche headliner that I got redone. Got my 3rd foot, and then I have all my electrical stuff wired right here. Electrical hubs, that's right. So I push that button, and then whoever's riding with me has to get out and lock my hubs in. That's the rule. So I did do a disc brake conversion. I got that from Barnes 4-wheel drive. The truss is from Barnes. Everything back here is from Barnes. On the inside of the 14 bolt, I'm running obviously 513s with a Yukon locker also. I'm also running, I believe it is T&M frame stiffeners, bumper to bumper. That is a definite must on these Comanches. I think it's T&M Fab. That's a must on these Comanches and really any unibody vehicle that you're going to off-road. And they definitely looks a lot better than the factory unibody. So what's cool about the soft topper is that this thing can go from Jeep Comanche to straight up 1st gen 4Runner in like 10 seconds. Like I've always loved the look of the 1st gen 4Runners when they were built. But I did this kind of wanted to show you my fuel cell. So I'm running I believe it's a 19.5 gallon fuel cell from Moto Built with the mounts. I'm running a factory Jeep Cherokee fuel pump. So whenever I stretched the Jeep, I did have to extend my wheel wells right here. And I'll show you on the back side kind of what I did. That's just mud or something. But this is the back, got plenty of space for camping gear, stuff like that. So I do have a lot of future plans that I want to do with this Jeep. I have a Rubicon transfer case out of a TJ that I'll be swapping in. I'm gonna put all the videos on YouTube for that. So stay tuned. LJ with that Rubicon transfer case has really spoiled me, and I really want this to have that same low range, so I'm not sitting there, just working the clutch and everything like that. But I mean, it's really been an awesome project. It's been an awesome truck. Me and my son, we went to pick it up, and he's even fell in love with it. He calls it Johnny Cash. So I don't know if you ever see me talking about Johnny Cash on social media. This is what he calls Johnny Cash. We just went with it. I've never really been big on naming Jeeps or anything, but this is the first one I've ever named. But it's definitely been like a huge goal of mine to build a Jeep Comanche. Like, even when I was in high school, I was always doodling or something in class. I always, start drawing a Comanche with massive off-road tires and a snorkel and a bed cover and all this stuff, the winches and everything. And this is literally like my dream vehicle when I was in high school. Like, I just always had one in my mind, like the graphics that kind of look like old Toyota or something like that. Every time I go to a gas station, or I've even been at off-road parks, and people come up to me and give me a high five and be like, dude, that is the coolest Toyota I've ever seen. And I'm just like, right on. I cannot drive it anywhere without somebody stopping and talking to me about it, telling me how their granddad used to have a Jeep Comanche, back in the day, or somebody's drunk uncle used to drive one. Well, that's going to wrap up this video, guys. I really appreciate y'all watching and checking the Comanche out. Huge shout out to Barnes 4-Wheel Drive for sponsoring the rebuild on the Comanche. I will be doing a video completely dedicated to how this Jeep got totaled by somebody texting and driving. But I appreciate y'all watching, and we will check you on the next one.